DC, Gotham anti-hero rises with ultimate powers. Episode 81. Seeing that someone had hurt her family, Kara clenched her fists and flew towards the metal man. But at the moment when she approached the metal man, Kara suddenly felt weak all over, and then fell to the ground. She was a little puzzled by her situation. What's wrong with me? Today, Kara does not understand her own situation, whether it is her superpowers or weaknesses. Kahahaha, I didn't expect that I could meet a second Kryptonian. It's really a bumper harvest today. I think it's nothing. The metal man's mechanical eyes looked at Jiang Li, who looked indifferent. He didn't know the other party, mainly because the other party, as a member of the Justice League, performed too few tasks and appeared. Which onion are you? If you don't want to die, give me a good fuck away. Jiang Li's eyes were cold. It seemed that he had touched too much fish recently, so that the villains who could only restrain the Superman family dared to speak wildly to him. Phew. With the black lightning all over his body, Jiang Li disappeared in front of the metal man's eyes in an instant, causing the latter to be shocked. Obviously the other party was not a simple character. After about 2 seconds, the metal man only saw a black afterimage flash, and a huge force came from his chest, instantly disintegrating the machinery in his body. Bang! The metal man only had a mechanical head lying on the ground, and the rest of the mechanical body had been smashed by Jiang Li. Just now, Jiang Li spent 2 seconds running 4 full laps on the earth, and the power of this punch was enough to be compared to a meteorite smashing head-on at you. Oh, isn't this the famous metal man lying on the ground? I haven't seen it for 2 seconds, why is it so pulled? Jiang Li laughed and walked towards the metal man's shattered body, bending down to pick up a heart-sized kryptonite. Who are you? Jiang Li ignored the metal man. He withdrew the kryptonite back to the system space. Clark and Kara did not have the influence of kryptonite, and they also recovered their strength and stood up. Thank you, you helped a lot. Clark got up and thanked Jiang Li. Jiang Li shook his head, and then walked in front of Carla. Are you okay? Your first contact with kryptonite, its effect on you may be a little longer. What's going on with me? Hearing this, Jiang Li helped Kara to sit on the park chair, and in the face of Kara's curious questions, the former told her all the answers, such as the superpowers and kryptonite red sun and other weaknesses obtained by the Kryptonians after absorbing the yellow sun. Seeing that the two were talking happily, Clark did not bother, and then pinched the head of the metal man, flew to the police who arrived and handed it to them. Don't worry, Mr. Superman, we'll deliver the metal man safely to its destination. Clark nodded to them and took to the skies to leave. But after Clark left, the corners of the police officers' mouths raised a little curve, and they changed hands to put the metal man's head into a box. Then drive the police car to the richest group in the Met, which is the Lex Group. Soon, the Metropolitan Police personally placed the box containing the metal man's head on Luthor's desk. This is what you want. What do I want for the money? Luthor smiled, gave the secretary on the side a look, and walked into his laboratory with the box. Luthor? You went to jail too? After opening the box, the metal man inside saw Luthor's chin and reflective bald head. In fact, I'm already out of prison. Mr. Metalman, do you need to see the gift I gave you? Paris, France. Diana rarely accompanies her 2 younger sisters. Sister, what is my brother-in-law doing now? Faced with Cassie's question, Diana replied, he has his own things to do. Why do you ask that? Cassie's little face was a little rosy, and a mature, confident and attractive man like Jiang Li was still quite attractive to her, but it was a pity that it was her brother-in-law. At this time, Donna pointed in a direction and said, Sister, look over there, who is that? Diana and Cassie both looked in the direction Donna was pointing, and saw a woman who resembled a humanoid cheetah walking towards them. Leopard girl, why are you here? Diana protects Donna and Cassie behind her. She knows the strength of the leopard women and fears that they will be injured because of it. I'm here to ruin your pretty face, and by the way, the 2 little girls next to you. You are delusional. The 2 rushed towards each other at the same time, and the sound of sharp claws colliding on the guarding silver bracelet was heard one after another during the fight. Read violent novels. Just go to Felu Fiction Network. Donna nodded to Cassie on the side, and the 2 of them outflanked the left and right together, and then the 3 surrounded the leopard women, forming a 3-bread sandwich. It seems that the situation is not good. The leopard woman originally thought that the 2 were just ordinary girls, but now she found that they both seemed to have similarities with Diana. Subsequently, the leopard woman played Donna and Cassie with limited experience at an amazing speed, and easily broke through the bag of the 3. Save it for next time, Wonder Woman. The leopard woman who had successfully escaped passed by a small forest, and suddenly a dark shadow in front of her blocked her way. Who are you? The black shadow came out of the shadows, revealing the true face of the Bone Master Bane. I am Bane, someone paid a high price to talk to us. Night sleep. Royal Flush is carrying out a robbery crime operation at a bank, and the Justice League immediately goes to the crime site after receiving the news. However, no one in the Justice League knew that the Royal Flush's criminal operation was just a trick to move the tiger out of the mountain. The Mirror Master infiltrates Batman's Batmobile, and then uses his abilities to successfully enter the Blobmobile's mirror. And the Justice League on the other side. Martian Manhunter brought K, Superman brought A, Greenland brought 10, and Batman and Flash brought J. All members of the Royal Flush have been subdued. The Martian Manhunter's eyes turned slightly red, and he began to read the thoughts of the Royal Flush members, and soon he got the answer: they don't know who provided them with this technology. Batman's eyes narrowed. He always felt that something was wrong, because the Royal Flush's criminal action seemed to be a pretense. Steel-boned Batman calls Victor, who is at the headquarters of the Great Hall of Justice. I have checked the information you have sent, and you can rest assured that this device is not from the heavenly apocalypse, but this device that can penetrate the wall is not something that ordinary countries or enterprises can have. The Justice League, which can't find out anything for the time being, has to send Royal Flush to prison, while Batman Bruce returns to his Batcave. Bruce steps off the Batmobile and is confronted by his butler, Afyu, who blocks in front of him. Alfred, I still have things to do. Of course, it's your freedom to do whatever you want, but now you have to go through treatment, then eat, and then get 8 hours of sleep. When Bruce heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. Okay, hurry up and finish these. After the two left the unmanned Batcave, the Batmobile opened on its own, the Mirror Master came out of it, he came to the supercomputer, and began to copy the top-secret information inside. The technology provided by Lex is convenient. Episode 82. Welcome to the Hall of Doom. At the conference table, a burly man stood in the center and said to the group of supervillains in front of him. My name is Vandal Savik, it's a pleasure to see you here. He is the immortal who has lived from ancient times to the present day. Vandal Savik. From the primitive era 50,000 years ago to the present Neanderthal, in the long historical years, he has established many glorious civilizations, such as Genghis Khan, Napoleon, and Jack the Ripper, etc. His goal is to become the master of humanity. And the supervillains in front of Vandal are, respectively, the Metal Man with a new body of the Lex brand, the Leopard Woman and Bane, and the Martian Manhunter's twin brother Malefac, and ORM who was banished by the Seven Seas. Sinisto wearing a yellow light ring. At the conference table behind Vandal were already sitting two figures, one of the Flash's archenemies, the Mirror Master, and Lex Luthor, who fell in love with Superman. We are gathered today because we have a common enemy, the Justice League. You are here because all of you have a feud with members of the Justice League and you all want to see their death. Although I have no personal grudge with them, their presence is a stumbling block for my chances that is difficult to kick off, and their death is beneficial to me. In short, we need to cooperate. When the Leopard Woman Bane and the others 480 heard this, they looked at each other one after another, and Sinisto, the old enemy of the Green Light, came out and said, seeing that you have a confident appearance, it seems that you have a good plan. A confident smile rose at the corner of Vandal's mouth. Of course, this plan can make the Justice League disappear completely. I have lived for nearly 50,000 years, and these 50,000 years of accumulation of wealth are enough for me to outperform all people in human history, and as long as this plan succeeds, you all have the opportunity to share this wealth with me. The eyes of Lex Luthor sitting behind him were meaningful. It was the first time he had seen someone who could live for 50,000 years, and he could be invited purely because of his hatred for Superman. Luthor asked curiously, I'm curious to know how your plan for the Justice League came to mind. Vandal turned to Luthor and replied, not to be precise, it's not what I thought, but a plan designed by a hero in the Justice League. Hearing this, Luthor's eyes narrowed slightly. Roar? That's interesting. The Metal Man looked left and right, and saw that the others did not seem to intend to give up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It seems that no one is planning to quit. Very good, welcome to the Doom Legion. At this time, Luthor stood up and said to everyone in the Doom Legion, my name is Lex Luthor, responsible for providing the science and technology of the Legion. Now I will introduce the plan for the Justice League to everyone. The first is the Chia Man, who has a certain level of moral bottom line and does not easily use telepathy in normal life. So Malefac can take the form of someone else approaching him, then make him drink a poisonous drink containing magnesium, excrete it through the sweat glands, and then light a fire on him, which can make his body burn for a whole week. After Malefac listened, the corners of his mouth raised and smiled. Yes, this method is indeed very effective, I may be able to try. Seeing this, the other members of the Doom Legion began to look forward to what the plan would be for their nemesis. Soon, after they listened to all the plans for the Justice League, suddenly the Metal Man raised his manipulator. I want to ask if the individual is missing, that is the trump card of the Justice League. When Luther heard this, the confident smile on his face began to darken a little. Ace is a difficult opponent, he does not have the extremely noble moral concepts of those superheroes, and he does not have clear weaknesses. Usually his opponents are either dead or crippled. So there is no so-called mortal enemy, we must solve the other members of the Justice League at the same time, and everyone can work together to subdue each other. The following is Batman's general explanation of the Tower of Babel plan. This is Batman, security rating, Omega, password, Delta Charlie, 27-5-1939. Enable the new protocol. Name, Member Containment Plan. To prevent all our members from defecting, we need to have plans and weapons to restrain each and every one of us. We cannot become a threat, and the members of the Alliance are my teammates. But we need to prepare for the worst, at any time. Member Containment Plan, File Code, Orphan. If Superman becomes a threat to Earth, the following program will be executed to ensure the safety of all. Green kryptonite sample, substance classification 7B, provided by Superman. Exposure to its radiation will incapacitate him, long-term exposure is most likely death, and the new type of kryptonite created with green kryptonite samples emits red radiation. The effect of this type of kryptonite is still unknown, and further testing is needed. Containment Plan, File Code, Red Joshua. John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, is the soul and heart of the Justice League, and his speed and strength will be a formidable enemy if hostile to the League. His weakness in fire would be difficult to exploit if he was prepared, and the results showed that the nanovirus containing magnesium implanted into his body would burn when his skin came into contact with air, dismantling the threat he posed, and must continue to be developed. Diversion Plan, 814, read violent novels, just go to Felu Fiction Network. Green Lantern's ring is the most powerful weapon in the universe, limited only by the user's imagination, and cannot separate the ring from the bearer unless the holder dies. And the ring's defense mechanism is capable of blocking direct attacks, but the ring has a prerequisite for its use, and they need to know what they are going to do. It is recommended to attack the defense mechanism of the disintegration ring. There are all attack plans on the 38B table, and the success rate of the implementation plan is noted. Research has shown that there is a feasible but not recommended solution to attack the spirit of Green Lantern, causing them to believe that they are blind, and that the ring will prompt them to go blind and be mutilated by their own willpower. Diversion Plan, File Code, Olympus. Diana is a strong and good teammate with no obvious weaknesses. The following steps will help. If she feels on par with her opponent, she will theoretically fight this opponent until she is exhausted, and she must study the feasibility of brain simulation reality technology. Containment Plan, there is no detailed list of plans. The basic plans of the following members of the Justice League need to be studied in depth. The Flash, paralyze it, Green Arrow, scrap one of the hands, steel bone, EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Aquaman, hydrophobia, using Scarecrow's fear gas to achieve its goal. Diversion Plan, File Code, Ace. Jiang Li is a very amazing person and a good friend, because his experience is similar to mine, and it is also a reason why it is difficult to fight him on the battlefield. I do not enjoy making this plan, but it must be completed. His abilities are strange, and from all kinds of combat data, it is difficult to determine what new abilities he will have. So the best case scenario is for all members of the Justice League to rule and contain together. If you use this plan under my guidance to paralyze members, please understand that this is necessary for everyone, that is, it needs to be returned. Containment Plan, File Code, Detective. Batman is a master of strategy and a powerful warrior, but he is a human after all, and the best way to dismantle his strategic abilities is to distract him. His parents are a great blind spot, and his desire to protect innocent people, hostage-taking is a good smokeball, especially his friends and loved ones. You'd better think clearly before you do that. Episode 83. In the Manor. Jiang Li brought a brand new guest here, that is, Carla. Wow, this is your home, it's really big. Carla was so pleased with the design of the estate that she couldn't wait to settle here. If you like it, there are still many empty rooms in the house, you can choose the one you like. Hearing this, Kara's pretty face couldn't help but blush, and Jiang Li's words were like another feeling when they reached her ears. If she lived here, wouldn't it mean that she and Jiang Li could get along for a long, long time, and Carla's face would be even more rosy when she thought of this. Obviously, the influence of super charm has been constantly conquering Kara's heart, and in just one day, Jiang Li's figure has been firmly engraved in her heart. Darling, is this another new love? At this time, Selina's beautiful figure appeared at the door, and she leaned against the wall with a charming smile. Kara was stunned, and turned her gaze to Jiang Li next to her. The meaning in her eyes was already obvious, that is, to tell her, who is that woman? This is Selina, who, like you, is a tenant who has been staying here for a while. Selina pretended to look sad. It's really sad, obviously I decided to live here all my life a few days ago, but now I have changed my mind to live temporarily. Jiang Li glanced at Selena and signaled you not to be troublesome, otherwise you will feel good in the evening, and his Trump whip is not vegetarian. And the latter was naturally not afraid of Jiang Li's threat, on the contrary, she was looking forward to how Jiang Li would punish her, so she put her hand on her flaming red lips and gave Jiang Li a flying kiss. This scene was seen by Kara, her beautiful face was a little uncomfortable, she hugged her chest and whispered to Jiang Li, I don't like her very much. Kara's words were listened to by the already strengthened Selena, who stepped forward with a smile and took Kara's jade hand very familiarly. I have been living here for a while, so I'll take my sister to visit here. Kara wanted to break free, but found that Selena's strength was much greater than she thought, and she did not dare to push too hard without training, for fear of losing control and causing harm to someone Jiang Li knew, so she could only helplessly be taken away by Selena. This naughty kitty, Jiang Li could see that Selena was helping him solve the Azura field that almost broke out just now, and by the way, he had a good relationship with Kara. At this time, Jiang Li saw the Black Lily walking towards him. How do you see your sad face? Black Lily sighed softly. I said, boss, you brainwashed that woman named Fiona, can you instill common sense of life into her? By the way, she has almost killed me these days. Jiang Li twitched the corners of his mouth in embarrassment. If Black Lily hadn't mentioned this, he would have really forgotten that Fiona was an alien and needed common sense of life on Earth. Handed over to the management of Black Lily, she must have suffered a lot, Jiang Li thought of this, and hugged Black Lily's slender and long waist with a distressed face. Boss, you suddenly took such an initiative, which made me unaccustomed to it. The corner of Black Lily's mouth raised a charming smile, and her slender jade fingers slid across Jiang Li's chest. Jiang Li exclaimed in his heart that he couldn't stand the spicy. On a shipyard in Paris, France. Drink. Diana punched the leopard woman, who was easily dodged by the leopard woman with her flexible posture. The leopard woman turned her figure, turned her head and fought with Diana, and the sound of claws colliding with silver bracelets resounded throughout the void. Wonder Woman, did you miss me a day apart? You can't beat me, leopard girl. Your bracelets trick is still so powerful, but in fact, I only need to hit it once. Hearing this, Diana was slightly stunned, and she looked at the wound on her left arm that was scratched by the leopard woman. Diana suddenly felt a sense of dizziness, she began to lose sight of the leopard woman's face, and her body was a little shaky. You poisoned me? How the leopard woman jumped to the fence of the boat, turned her head and said defiantly to Diana, if you have the ability, let's see if you can catch up with me. Diana jumped lightly and flew to the ground, but when she returned to the ground, she found that there was no leopard woman. Sister? Diana followed the voice and turned to look, only to see two identical leopard women in front of her, although she didn't know why the leopard woman showed that doubtful look. Sister, what's wrong with you? Donna was confused, and when she wanted to help her sister and immediately arrived, she saw hostility in Diana's eyes. Cassie on the side also sensed that something was wrong. Sister Donna, our sister seems to be a little strange. Drink. The next moment, Diana burst into her sisters and punched them with her fists, who immediately dodged when they saw this. Sister. What's wrong with you? Shut up. If you want to set up in battle, you can almost avoid it. Donna and Cassie don't know what happened to Diana, but it's safe to say that Diana doesn't recognize them at all. Cassie, let's subdue my sister first. Hearing this, Cassie immediately entered a fighting state, but how could two inexperienced girls be Diana's opponents who had experienced multiple wars? Donna took the lead in fighting Diana, and at first the two women were evenly matched, but soon Diana adapted to Donna's fighting style and immediately began to gain the upper hand. Although it is not clear why you know our Amazon fighting skills, you are doomed to fail, leopard woman. When Donna heard this, she was slightly stunned. She seemed to hear Diana call her a leopard girl, but just when Donna was stunned, Diana seized the opportunity and knocked Donna over the shoulder to the ground. Bang! Sister Donna. Seeing this, Cassie immediately rushed forward, but she was the youngest and least mature of the three women, and soon she was put to the ground by Diana in just 4 moves. Donna got up and immediately went to help Cassie, and said to Cassie in the process of dragging Diana, contact brother-in-law, sister needs her help. Episode 84. After a period of upheaval and joy, Jiang Li walked out of the messy room refreshed. Jingle bell, the mobile phone in Jiang Li's pocket rang. Hey, Cassie, are you looking for me for something? Later, Jiang Li learned about Diana's current situation from Cassie's mouth, and his brows furrowed together. I understand, I'll be there soon. It seems that Diana was calculated. This is not blackening. From Cassie's mouth, we can know that Diana still has a rational existence at this time, not blackening caused by being controlled. Jiang Li didn't think much about it, he immediately walked out of the manor, his figure flashed and then disappeared in place, and after about a second, Jiang Li shuttled from Gotham Manor to where Diana and them were. I saw Diana being held by one hand each of her two sisters, barely stalemated in place. At this time, Diana's pulse, blood pressure, and respiratory rate were getting faster and faster, and it was only a matter of time before she died suddenly. Brother-in-law Donna and Cassie saw Jiang Li's arrival, and surprise appeared on their pretty faces. And Diana also saw Jiang Li's figure, but in her 03 eyes, Jiang Li is a leopard woman. You must be their real person. Jiang Li came to Diana in a flash, put his hand on her forehead, and used magic to sweep the latter's whole body, and suddenly found something different. A large number of tiny nanorobots are attacking Diana's brainstem, and they are affecting Diana's optic and auditory nerves. As a result, no matter who she sees or hears, it will make Diana see what the calculator wants her to see, and if it goes on like this, Diana will fight until her heart stops. Jiang Li's eyes began to glow white, as did Diana, and Donna and Cassie on the side took the initiative to let go of their hands when they saw that their sister would not struggle anymore. The two looked at each other, and Jiang Li used magic to enter Diana's brain stem through her forehead in the palm of her hand, and directly evaporated and disappeared those tiny nanorobots. Diana leaned forward weakly, and Jiang Li caught her soft body and held her in his arms. Diana slowly opened her eyes. I seem to be fighting with the leopard woman just now. Subsequently, Jiang Li and Donna Cassie explained the situation just now, and Diana was suddenly a little embarrassed, but she didn't expect her to be used so easily. It doesn't matter if you're stupid or not, because that's my magical piglet. Hearing this, Diana smiled and lightly punched Jiang Li's chest. He was still so gentle and humorous, people liked it very much. Donna and Cassie, who were next to the two of them, looked at each other, and Cassie took the lead and said, Sister Donna and I are also working very hard, okay? Jiang Li smiled slightly at the two sisters-in-law. Okay, you guys did a good job this time, you know how to ask for support, instead of continuing to drag on. If you encounter anything that can't be solved in the future, remember to notify me immediately. When the words fell, both Donna and Cassie, as well as Diana in Jiang Li's arms, nodded. They both knew that Jiang Li could solve the trouble they couldn't solve. I'm Batman, calling the Justice League. Bruce's voice sounded in the wireless earphones in Jiang Li and Diana's ears. As early as half an hour ago, he was attacked by Bane, buried with the bones of his parents, and escaped with tenacious willpower. I'm an ace, what's the matter? Are you okay over there? Faced with Bruce's inquiry, Jiang Li replied softly, my side is fine, I am with Diana now. Well, listen to me, now the Justice League is under attack. Time goes back in time. In a salt mine in Seaside City. Green Lantern is told to go to rescue the hostages held by the gangsters inside, and after solving some miscellaneous soldiers on the periphery, Hal enters the depths of the salt mine. Suddenly, he smelled a strange smell, and soon there was a strange feeling in his head. He had never been in this situation before. He suddenly saw a gangster holding a 7-year-old boy hostage. The little boy still begged Hal, Big brother, help me. Hal frowned, he raised his hand to his chest and aimed the ring at the gangster, but quickly put it down. Don't hurt him, that won't do you good, all your accomplices have already been caught, or worse, you have no other choice. But there is one more. After speaking, the gangster's eyes did not waver, but raised his other hand, holding a device with a button in his hand, and then gently pressed it. Boo. Barriers protect him, read violent novels, just go to Felu Fiction Network. No, Hal quickly stepped forward to peel away the rubble, and soon the first thing he saw was the dead gangster. I don't understand, I can obviously disarm him. Hal then continued to peel away the rubble on the ground, and it wasn't long before he saw the little boy who was not breathing. No, Hal held the little boy in his arms, and 560's tone was full of guilt. I'm sorry. Your failure killed him, you should have saved him, but you didn't. A voice began to sound throughout the space, a voice that Hal was familiar with, but when Hal heard it, he thought it was his inner voice. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to? Didn't you mean to kill all these people here? How else do you want to do on purpose? Hal. I do not know. You're afraid, you don't deserve this power. Hal was defeated by willpower. He looked at the green light ring on his finger, and after a long silence, he said, yes, I don't deserve this power. I hope you know what to do. The next moment, Hal lowered his hand, and the green light ring fell off Hal's fingers on its own, falling to the ground, absorbing the green light energy from Hal's body. Hal, on the other hand, held the corpse of the little boy, knelt on the ground, and fell into his own guilt and regret. Episode 85. The Martian Manhunter was tricked by his twin brother Malefac and then drank the poison containing magnesium, and the body constantly excreted magnesium-containing sweat, and the body ignited a fire that would last for a week. The Flash saves people's hearts, and is designed by the Mirror Master to take an old woman locked in a glass box as a hostage, allowing the Flash to vibrate quickly into the glass box while installing a kinetic energy bullet on his hand, as long as the speed is below a certain value, it will explode, allowing him to run until he is exhausted, even if he uses vibration to shake it off. Arthur was attracted to the coast by ORM, and was attacked by the latter to suck the Scarecrow's fear gas, and seeing the sea was like seeing a flood beast, and was crushed by ORM with an advantage. The steel bone was in the Justice Hall, the headquarters of the Justice League, and was fired by Luthor's hands with an electromagnetic pulse, stunned on the ground, and could not wake up for a short time. Jiang Li took Diana on the Apocalypse fighter to the location of the Martian Manhunter. I really didn't expect the Justice League to be calculated sometimes, and it's strange that they seem to know us well. Faced with Diana's doubts, Jiang Li said what he knew. In fact, these are all designed by Bruce. The plan for the members of the Justice League, also known as the Member Containment Plan, is a plan designed by Batman to watch out for the members of the Justice League, including himself. If it is in the hands of the villain, it can be changed to a deadly targeting plan with a little modification. What? Diana had a hard time accepting the truth. After all, they were comrades in arms, which was a complete manifestation of distress. Why did he do that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. On the contrary, I think it's done well and not hard enough. Diana was stunned. She didn't expect Jiang Li to support Bruce's plan so much. She silently waited for Jiang Li's explanation. Jiang Li also replied as he wished, if you encounter any enemy who can control your mind in the future, it will pose a threat to the entire world. The Justice League is the most powerful team on the entire planet, and it will face the most dangerous situation at any time. Trust me, don't overestimate your willpower. There are so many outrageous things in this world. There are too many things that can be mind-controlled in the DC universe, whether it is Starro or anti-life equation can play a powerful mind control. I will always believe in you. The corners of Diana's mouth raised a beautiful curve. She had always believed that Jiang Li could protect them, and he always had a full sense of security. Jiang Li smiled. The only pity is that no one around is watching them spread dog food now. It didn't take long for Jiang Li and Diana to arrive at the location of the Martian hunter, and at this time, he could not bear the pain and fell to the bottom of the sea. Jiang Li took the needle containing Illumina, then jumped into the sea, quickly swam to the Martian Manhunter, and injected it. Diana used the lasso of mantra to pull Jiang Li and them onto the Apocalypse fighter, ready to go to the next place, the Metropolis. I don't know how long it took. The Martian hunter woke up, and he saw Jiang Li and Diana piloting the Apocalypse fighter. You injected me with Illumina? Jiang Li replied, that's right, that thing can neutralize the magnesium in your body, and it is harmless to the physiological structure of Martians. Interesting, how do you know? Diana replied, Batman said that. Diana, you come to drive, you go to find the steel bone first, and then go to operate on Superman, and Batman will solve the other problems. And I have to go somewhere to do something now. Hearing this, Diana nodded without hesitation, and then took the lever in Jiang Li's hand, and the latter directly opened the hatch and jumped from 1,000 meters in the air. Looking at the direction Jiang Li left, the Martian Manhunter sighed expressionlessly. He is really a very mysterious person. When Diana heard this, a proud smile rose at the corner of her mouth. This is the man I like. The screen turns. After Jiang Li landed on the ground, he asked Bruce if he knew the location of the mastermind behind the scenes. Sure enough, Bruce tells Jiang Li everything he knows, and if his documents are cracked, he will call the base, including the location of the thief. Jiang Li directly used his divine speed, and the scene in front of him began to change wildly, and finally came to a swampy area with dark sky. What came into view was a semicircular steel fortress. Jiang Li smiled slightly. It seemed that he had come to the right place. At this time, the Doomsday Legion was still celebrating in the fortress, not knowing what kind of opponent they would soon face. Honor victory, honor the Doomsday Legion. Honor victory. Honor the Doomsday Legion. Every villain is overjoyed, they have defeated their nemesis, and they are all toasting and celebrating. Soon, they began discussing plans to destroy half of the Earth's population. Solar flares will destroy the side facing the sun, nearly half of the Earth's population will die instantly, and with an electromagnetic pulse, all technology more advanced than the steam engine. Read violent novels, go on Feilu Fiction Network. In fact, at this time, the rest of the Doom Legion had just learned of Vandal's crazy plan. Among them, Luthor frowned and looked at Vandal, so that the world would be in chaos, and the funds and technology he had would become waste paper and scrap iron. This madman who deserves to die is only now speaking out about this plan, and the other villains do not seem to intend to oppose Vandal. Boo! The next moment, Vandal's golden statue fell with a bang, and after a puff of smoke, it was Jiang Li who appeared in front of the eyes of the Doomsday Legion. What did I hear? The plan to destroy the world, what a fucking dark off few. Seeing this, everyone in the Doom Legion changed their faces one after another, and only Luthor secretly breathed a sigh of relief. All the villains burst into flames, all rushing towards Jiang Li. Jiang Li's figure flashed, and instantly disappeared in place, along with Bane. Episode 86. Bane only felt the world spinning for a while, and in a blink of an eye, he came to a power room, and Jiang Li, who was smiling and groaning in front of him. Although I don't mind group fights, I still like not to be disturbed when I abuse my dog. Humph, the tone is not small, I don't know how much you can do. After speaking, Bane's body expanded rapidly, until he became a giant more than 2 meters tall. Aha! Bane punched Jiang Li, but the latter flashed to the other side in the blink of an eye, and the former thought he was looking at the eyes. After that, Bane kept punching his fists, but not a single punch hit Jiang Li, and the former began to grit his teeth in anger by the mocking smile on the latter's face. The divine speed force is no joke. As long as Jiang Li thinks, he can go to every place on the earth in an instant, faster than the real meaning of teleportation. I've had enough. As soon as the words fell, Bane did not see Jiang Li's speed. He received a heavy blow to his jaw, and his burly body flew backwards and fell heavily on the ground. Sign into the Batman series. Reward: absolute willpower. Absolute willpower. No matter any mind control, as long as it is the ability to control against one's own will, it will be completely invalidated. Jiang Li stepped forward and lifted Bane up in the air. Thank you very much for your dedication, I will treat you. As soon as his hands loosened, Bane's body quickly fell, and Jiang Li's knees were pushed up hard, only to hear click. A sound. A Bane, whose vertebrae were shattered, could only lie weakly on the ground and cry out in pain. 327 Jiang raised a cruel smile at the corner of his mouth, immediately sensed the movement behind him, and then ducked his head, easily avoiding the leopard woman's claw sneak attack. I've observed you, and you seem to be very close to the woman Wonder Woman. Good observation. A cold light flashed in the leopard woman's eyes, and her body began to fall slightly. Then if I kill you, then she will definitely go crazy. You can try. As soon as the words fell, the leopard woman burst out extremely fast, and her claws turned into silver-white streamers and attacked the indifferent Jiang Li. Jiang Li's eyes were quick, grabbed the 2 wrists of the leopard woman, felt the furry feeling coming from his hand, and he shook his head. It's a pity, I'm not Furuikon. Bang! Jiang Li slammed the leopard girl's head on the ground, and the former said viciously, I may consider washing your head. Picked up a leopard cat, Jiang Li dragged the leopard woman who had fainted on the road to find other villains. Jiang Li didn't take a few steps before he encountered Sinisto and the Mirror Master and the Metal Man who rushed over, and even ORM rushed over. As for Malefac, he is nowhere to be seen, perhaps invisible elsewhere. The Mirror Master stuck in and smiled. It seems that Bane and the leopard girl have lost in your hands, but it's okay, you're over. I'm curious, do you know my strength? This sentence can ask the villain of the Doom Legion. In fact, except for the Metal Man, no one else has seen Jiang Li's strength. Then let you see. After speaking, Jiang Li wrapped black lightning around his body, turned into a black afterimage, and began to circle around the people of the Doom Legion. At the same time, the Ice Freeze Master ability on Jiang Li's body began to activate, and the strong wind form turned into a cold and biting ice storm. Sinisto gritted his teeth and wanted to fly out of the range of Jiang Li's ice storm, but as soon as he touched the edge, he was repelled by a huge force in the face. Even if he used all kinds of figurative weapons, it would not help. This ice storm was like an impenetrable cell, trapping them in it. Sign into the Green Lantern series. Reward: Green Lantern Ring. Green Lantern Ring can visualize the user's willpower, has unlimited energy, and does not need to replenish green light energy. Fume Master Mirror and ORM began to lack oxygen because Jiang Li drained the air, and eventually fell to the ground and turned into 2 ice sculptures. Jiang Li instantly changed direction, slammed a straight fist on the mechanical body of the Metal Man, and was once again beaten out by Jiang Li with scrap iron fragments. Seeing this, Malefac, who was stealth, his green brows furrowed. This human being was even more powerful and merciless than they thought. Maybe you can sneak up on each other. Malefac specially showed his true identity for Sinisto to see, and the latter immediately knew what the other party wanted to do, so he planned to attract Jiang Li's attention with words. You are the most amazing earthling I have ever met, but I am a little curious about how many abilities you have. At the same time, Malefac remained invisible, his body opening, slowly floating towards Jiang Li, and his right hand had transformed into a sharp claw blade. However, in Jiang Li's sight, Malefac's breath was everywhere, and the corner of the former's mouth raised a confident smile. The next moment, Jiang Li's eyes began to glow white, and after capturing Malefac's position, he directly entered the other party's spiritual thinking. The controlled Malefac immediately appeared in his figure, and Jiang Li, who returned to himself, quickly turned around and punched through the former's body. Ahem. Sign into the Martian Manhunter series. Reward: telepathy and mind control. Seeing this, Sinister was shocked and flew directly towards Jiang Li, figuring a giant fist to hit the latter. Jiang Li's figure dodged this blow in a flash, but this punch hit Malefac behind you on himself. However, Malefac, who is a Martian, is not so easy to die, and compared physical attacks are too pediatric for Martians who can easily change their bodies. Malefac, who was shot off, immediately entered the void and fled without hesitation, and Jiang Li did not bother to chase deeply. Now it's just us, Sinister. To be honest, Jiang Li still admires Uncle Sai, the villain. You can say that he is a villain, you can also say that he is an anti-hero, it can be a decent person. Full name, Sinister, is Green Lantern's nemesis, and Batman and Joker, Superman and Luthor. He fell in love with the greatest Green Lantern Hal Jordan for many years, and he even did what Hal Jordan did not do, which was to conquer the Parallax monster and become a Parallax demon with his own. Mind if I use this? After that, Jiang Li took out his green light ring and put it on his hand. Sinister's eyes shrank slightly, and his tone was a little surprised. I underestimated you a little, but I didn't expect to be recognized by the Green Lantern ring. Immediately, he felt like he was soliciting, join me, the green light is just a bunch of rabble. Sounds good, read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. Hearing this, Sinister originally thought that he had a powerful subordinate, but who knew that Jiang Li's tone changed rapidly in the next second. But I refuse. What? Sinister was stunned, thinking he had misheard. Jiang Li smiled slightly, and the green light ring on his finger emitted a dazzling blue light. What kind of strength a person with 100,000 world knowledge and absolute willpower can show, he wants to see and see. Sinister is a good opponent. One of my favorite things to do is say no to people who think they are strong. The day is clear, the night is vast. There is nothing to hide. The evil gangsters are afraid of the light of God. Green light is everlasting, the light of all worlds. Boo. With a dazzling blue light, a huge body broke through the ceiling of the fortress and appeared in front of everyone. Episode 87. The giant mech composed of green energy towered over the swamp. It was a humanoid mech like a wanderer, and I saw the giant mech bombard the yellow dot in front of me with a punch. The yellow dot was instantly shot away, smashed the ground, and a puff of dust and fog dispersed. It turned out that the yellow dot was Sinister. Hurrah! Dozens of missiles formed by green energy were immediately launched behind the giant mecha and flew towards Sinister, lying in the pit. Sinister gritted his teeth and immediately flew into the sky, dodging the attack of the missile, but the missile had a tracking function and kept chasing his target. Seeing this, the belated Justice League all looked at Hal, and the latter obviously did not know that there was a second Green Lantern on Earth. He did recognize his old rival Sinister, but the other party was a little embarrassed at this time. No matter what kind of weapon was embodied, it could not shatter the defense of the giant mecha. It seems to be a river on top. Superman uses his supervision to clearly see the figure controlling the giant mech. This time it was Barry's turn to be a little confused, and he scratched his head. Well, can this guy Jiang's superpower copy our superpower and use it? Barry's guess was nodded in agreement with Hal and Superman, who had used abilities similar to heat rays in previous battles. I don't think so, but I can't think of any other guesses, the Martian Manhunter said. Batman stared at the battle in the distance with burning eyes, and it didn't take long to say, the winner has been divided. Everyone turned their attention to the battlefield, and saw that the giant mech grabbed Sinister who was flying around, and then the eyes of the mech's head burst green lasers. After being washed by the green laser for a few minutes, Sinister was covered in black smoke and lay weakly in the hands of the giant mech. Seeing this, Hal quickly flew over, glanced at Sinister on the palm of the mecha, and was immediately relieved to see that the other party still had a breath. He set his sights on Jiang Li, who also knew what the other party was trying to express, so Jiang Li handed Sinister to Hal. Jiang Li returned to the fortress, and Luthor and Vandal had long disappeared from the Hall of Doom at this time, and then sent the leopard girl back to the manor in a second. Diana flew down from the sky and landed beside Jiang Li, and the first thing she said was to ask, "You're not hurt, are you?" Jiang Li shook his head, and this time, the incident against the Justice League was over. Later, everyone in the Justice League and Jiang Li returned to the Hall of Justice to gather for a meeting, focusing on discussing Batman's plan this time. Everyone sat at the round table, their expressions were a little solemn, only Jiang Li was eating melon seeds a little heartlessly. I don't understand why you made these plans, it's completely distrustful of us. Faced with Superman's dissatisfaction, Batman said expressionlessly, the purpose of my plan is to subdue, not kill, and if one day the Justice League is controlled by the enemy with mind control, then this plan will come in handy. After speaking, Batman took off his hood and revealed his true face, the rich man Bruce Wayne. Only Superman and Jiang Li, as well as Diana, knew each other's true identities, and the others had no way of knowing. Barry stood up directly and was surprised, Batman is Bruce Wayne? Only Hal looked confused. Who the is Bruce Wayne? Steelbone did not care about Bruce's identity, but asked the latter, is it because of the dream I told you about that plan that you made? Hearing this, everyone turned their attention back to Bruce, and even Jiang Li was a little interested. Yes, Steelbone said that when he resurrected Superman, he saw a dream from the future from the mother box, and in the dream, Superman lost control. The world fell to Darkseid, and many heroes died in the Battle of Resistance, so I made this plan to avoid that happening. In the end, Batman was not withdrawn due to suspicion and targeting the Justice League, and everyone turned a blind eye to Batman's behavior. Go back to each house, find each mother. The next day. Seaside City. Jiang Li came to the city alone, because a partner invited him, and as the boss of the company, Jiang Li naturally had to come. Soon, he came to the large company in Seaside City, Ferris Aviation Group. Left, long time no see. When Jiang Li came to the office, he saw a beautiful lady with black hair and wearing an OL suit walking up to him. Long time no see. Karo, Jiang Li and Carol shook hands with a smile. Zero asked for flowers. The other party's full name is Carol Ferris, the executive director and boss of Ferris Airlines, and a strong woman in the workplace. At the same time, the relationship with Hal in the original work is a couple relationship, but the current situation is somewhat beyond Jiang Li's expectations, and Carol and Hal do not seem to feel that way. It's just a simple relationship between superiors and subordinates. She also has another identity in the future, that is, the purple lamp that represents the emotion of love in the Seven Lantern Legion, Star Blue Stone. This woman is a sick woman, wearing a purple lantern ring can directly locate the location of her loved one, which is simply an essential artifact for catching adulterers. So, what's the matter with you coming to me? Could it be that something is wrong with the investment? When Carol heard this, she raised the corner of her mouth and smiled. Don't worry, everything is normal in the company. Jiang Li waited in silence for the following, and then heard Carol continue. I actually have a place I really want to go, but unfortunately I need personal companionship, and the people in the company are also busy, and I don't want to waste these 2 admission tickets in vain. The meaning expressed here is already obvious. Jiang Li is not a fool. Naturally he can hear that this Nima is not invited to date. It turns out that you are going to soak me. Jiang Li is right. Carol's real purpose is to soak Jiang Li, which is nothing more than super charm and plays a big role. Carol is a strong woman in the workplace, and she is also very active in love, and when she encounters Jiang Li who has an appetite for herself, she naturally does not plan to let it go. After all, she is golden and handsome. And because of Karo's father, she was the only one running the company alone. Jiang Li's investment undoubtedly helped her a lot, and also provided many people to help her manage the company, which greatly increased Carol's favor for Jiang Li. Jiang Li thought about it carefully. In the original work, Carol fell in love with Green Lantern, and then attracted the Zamelins, who are in charge of the emotions of love, and were chosen as their queen. Because Carol does not want to leave Earth, she brainwashes Carol and fuses it with the star blue crystal to become a star blue stone representing the purple light of love. But now Carol is not in love with Green Lantern, who has just debuted, and Jiang Li thought about it before saying, okay. Episode 88. Dating is still the same, nothing more than shopping for clothes, playing in the playground, watching love movies. Carol is enjoying it. The two had a wonderful and intimate day, and in the blink of an eye, it was close to dusk, and Jiang Li and Carol sat on their chairs in the park, watching the upcoming sunset. Can you go somewhere with me? Hearing this, Jiang Li looked at Karo, whose face became a little sad. The former nodded, and then they came to a cemetery garden. They stopped in front of a tombstone with the inscription, Tomb of Ferris, the tombstone of Karo's father. In fact, my father was not a retired tourist, but died of illness, and Ferris Airlines could not do without 893, my father, even if it was a name. So I announced that my father retired to travel and temporarily handed over the company to me to manage and operate. If it weren't for your capital investment, I think I would be crushed by the huge pressure now. Jiang Li walked up and put his hand on Karo's shoulder. He could feel the latter's slightly trembling delicate body, and said in a gentle and comforting tone. Karo, you're not alone anymore. Feeling the warmth in the language, Carol couldn't help but throw herself into Jiang Li's arms anymore, smelling the beating sound of Jiang Li's chest and heart. I probably know how to cheer you up. After speaking, Jiang Li took out the green light ring from the system space, and then put it on his finger, and the green light surrounded the two to form a sphere. Subsequently, they flew into the sky. OMG. Carol saw that her feet were getting farther and farther from the ground, and if she hadn't had her experience as a pilot, she would have been scared to the point of weakness. They flew faster and faster, and finally broke through the Earth's atmosphere and came to the endless outer space. Carol looked at the Earth below her. The night Earth was shining with dazzling lights, and the sun on the other side of the world. She felt beautiful. Jiang Li then takes Carol to the moon, and the sphere that covers them disappears, and green energy covers Kara's exterior, allowing her to breathe and talk in the space environment and move freely. Carol began to beat on the lunar surface. She had never experienced a trip to the moon firsthand, let alone without a spacesuit. The sense of weightlessness made Carol play. Jiang Li smiled slightly and looked at this scene. Sorry Hal, since you didn't start, then I will start first. After the two admired the beauty of the earth together, Jiang Li sent Carol back to his villa. Before parting, Carol left her lip print on Jiang Li's cheek. Jiang Li came to outer space, let the green light ring guide him, and prepared to go to the green light headquarters Oua Xing, and try his guess by the way. Okay, try it. After speaking, Jiang Li was wrapped in black lightning, and instantly turned into a blue light, shuttling through the universe. Looking at the countless planets and stars flying in front of him, Jiang Li raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. It seemed that his divine speed power could cooperate with the green light ring to achieve the highest flight speed. After about a few seconds, Jiang Li saw a planet with a green barrier appear in front of him. Soon, Jiang Li saw Hal flying in front of him. I didn't expect you to arrive so soon. I thought I'm going to pick you up, read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. Since Hal knew that Jiang Li had obtained the green light ring, he planned to bring him back to the waxing headquarters. Unfortunately, what he didn't know was that Jiang Li's Green Lantern ring did not come from Oua Xing or other Green Lanterns, but an independent thing created by the system, which no one recognized except him. Sorry, I can't wait. In his previous life, as a DC fan, he really wanted to see what Green Lantern's headquarters Oua Star was like, and by the way, look at the scenery outside the Universe Zero. Later, Jiang Li and Hal entered Oua Star and saw many green figures, all of them aliens of different shapes, all with green light rings on their tentacles or fingers. The Green Lantern Corps is like a cosmic policeman, patrolling the universe under its jurisdiction, maintaining the peaceful order and justice of the entire universe. In the Seven Lantern Legion, the number of Green Lantern Corps is the largest, and in general major events, as long as more than 5 Green Lanterns are dispatched, they will be destroyed, so there is a terrier that the Green Lantern Corps will be destroyed after 5 regiments. In terms of righteousness, Green Lanterns are definitely worthy of admiration, because they know how to sacrifice themselves to protect others, which also leads to Jiang Li being destined to become a qualified Green Lantern. It's just that they don't know that the most troublesome people in the entire universe are actually within them. You're new? There was a sound in the air, and I saw an alien humanoid pig landing in front of Jiang Li and Hal. Hal introduced with a smile. He is Kiravog, an instructor of the Green Lantern Corps and a good friend of mine. Jiang Li knows the story of this alien pig, and can be said to be 15 as one of the supporting roles with a good appearance rate, usually appearing as a good friend of Hal Jordan. Hello, I'm Jiang Li. Jiang Li shook hands with the strong-willed alien with kindness. Kiravog shook hands with Jiang Li, and quipped to Hal on the side, I thought that the Earthlings were as rude as you. Hal. Kiravog didn't pay attention to Hal's disgruntled eyes, but continued, okay, we should go to the Guardians for a meeting. Episode 89. Jiang Li followed Kiravog and Hal to the meeting place of the Green Lantern Corps, where countless Green Lanterns gathered, and then nearly 10 little blue men floated down from the sky. They are Martis, the earliest intelligent life forms in the universe, who came to Oua Star later, proclaimed themselves Guardians of the Universe, and founded the Green Lantern Legion. Little blue people can be said to be the most capable of making trouble. They are best at suppressing and covering up, suppressing those who disobey themselves, and covering up the existence and even various deletion records if they can't beat them. They never admit that they have done wrong, put all the blame on sentient beings, and believe that all disputes are caused by the emotions of life. Throughout the DC universe, the Little Blue Man has contributed to the smooth outbreak of nearly half of the major events and crises with his ability to make trouble. Some of them are completely avoidable, such as the Darkest Night prophecy, which they know, but they rely on, saying that the Darkest Night is a lie, and no one else is allowed to investigate 03. The establishment of the Seven Lanterns Legion is basically directly or indirectly related to the Little Blue Man. Among the pile of little blue people, it is estimated that only the little blue person named Ganser is the one who does business, both human and brave, to face the prophecy of the Darkest Night. There is a group of pig teammates, otherwise they would not have left Oua Xing, and then established the Blue Lantern Army. Regarding Green Lantern Hal Jordan's dereliction of duty, which led to Sinisto's rescue, we must punish him severely. For Jiang Li's green light ring, their exploration was a passing one, and more was discussing how to deal with Sinisto's rescue by the Yellow Lantern Legion. And many little blue people have long been unaccustomed to Hal, and have been trying to get the other party to withdraw from the Green Lantern Corps, but they have never found a suitable reason, and there is also Ganser to mediate in it. Finally let Hal go for the time being. Hearing this, Jiang Li faintly cast his gaze to Hal on the side, and the latter naturally felt the former's eyes, and he whispered with some embarrassment. No way, I was alone at that time, and the other party dispatched the entire legion, so as to fight more and less. Subsequently, some Green Lanterns proposed to strengthen their vigilance, while those little blue men were conceited enough to offer to take the initiative to attack the opponent's base camp. Jiang Li's eyelids jumped when he heard it. If he hadn't heard about the Green Light's victory in 5 days, he might have thought that the odds of winning the Green Light were very high. And just heard Hal say that Sinisto once killed OUA Star alone, and a group of Green Lanterns are not opponents of the other party, let alone the other party has recruited a certain number of Yellow Lantern members. It seems that the yellow defect has not been overcome, and the parallax monster is still affecting the green energy in the Green Light central battery. Just what else to hit here? I'm afraid to hit the head. The final result of the discussion was to let some Green Lanterns patrol more than 3,000 sectors, and once they encountered the people of the Yellow Lantern Corps, they immediately shook people, and the others were on standby and waxing. During the whole process, Jiang Li did not mention any opinions, and he was watching the wise operation of the little blue man the whole time. Jiang Li patted Hal's shoulder. I feel that the future of your Green Lantern Corps is very worrying. You guys? Isn't that us? I am who I am, not a shield for those little blue dwarfs. Hearing this, Hal smiled. It's best that your words not be heard by the Guardians, they can remember very much. Later, they came to the Green Lantern training venue together, preparing to teach Jiang Li, the newcomer. Kiravog twisted his neck. Then next, let me show you this idiot mantra, the correct use of the green light ring. How about you go together? Jiang Li shrugged. Although he had good senses for Kiravog, an alien, he didn't look at all for Kiravog's opponent. With his absolute willpower and the green light ring that never runs out of power, he is not at all worthy of any Legion member opponent. Read violent novels, just go to Felu Fiction Network. When Hal and Kiravog heard this, they looked at each other, and Hal hugged his chest and smiled. You are still the first green light to be so arrogant, but Kiravog is enough to deal with you. But after speaking, Hal remembered that on the swamp before, the giant green mech, as if thinking carefully, Kiravog alone was really not enough to lead the other party. When Hal wanted to change his words, Jiang Li had already started with them. Kiravog embodied a giant hammer and rushed towards Jiang Li, who looked indifferent. Bang! Kiravog's body jumped and fell from the sky, but it smashed on the mechanical arm that was instantly embodied. Just as Kiravog was stunned, another mechanical arm blasted him away with a punch, crashed into the wall, and slowly slid down. Kiravog shook his head, and then fixed his eyes on it, and Jiang Li's side of the 437 meridian began to visualize 2 huge figures. Jiang Li looked at the masterpieces beside him. They were Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, and the green light ring that relied on imagination was really a good toy, which could fully satisfy his childhood fantasies. Then, Hal said a few words in Kiravog's ear, and the latter's face changed slightly. Why didn't you say it earlier? The person who can subdue Sinister can be called a newcomer. Okay, don't be angry. I contracted today's dinner. Hal quickly patted Kiravog's shoulder and said. It's like a lot of fun here. Suddenly, there was a wind chime-like sound at the door, and Jiang Li and the 3 looked in the direction of the sound. Episode 90. Hi guys. Aresa's face was full of sunny and cheerful smiles, and Jiang Li greeted Hal and the others. As for Layla on the side, she is a little taciturn, a bit of iceberg beauty style, plus the skin is a little lilac, full of exotic taste. Hal walked to Jiang Li's side and began to introduce him to the 2 alien girls in front of him. Anessa, joined the Green Lantern Corps before you. Layla, originally a princess of the kingdom, has been joining the Green Lantern Corps for some time. Arisha trotted to Jiang Li with a smile and held the latter's hand excitedly. It's nice to meet you, we will be good friends in the future. Among the Green Lanterns she knows, she is the most junior, and she often feels bad about being taken care of, but now it's different, she can be regarded as a senior. It's a pleasure to meet you too. Anessa. Jiang Li's first impression of this Aries was good. Who wouldn't like a sunny and cheerful girl? Layla nodded to Jiang Li, which can be regarded as a greeting. How did you come up with these 2 big guys? With a curious gaze, Aretha swept over Bumblebee and Optimus Prime embodied from the green light ring. The more elaborate and complex the embodied object, the more it shows that the host of the Green Lantern ring has the stronger the willpower and imagination. Since Jiang Li can concretely incarnate these 2 big guys, it is obvious that Jiang Li has much stronger willpower and imagination than most Green Lanterns. It's just a little trick. Jiang Li chose to be humble and didn't say much. In fact, to cause a transformer, Jiang Li can do it, but first of all, the energy is too expensive. Secondly, the immortals of the DC universe are flying all over the sky, and they may be dismantled into scrap iron soon after birth, so the embodiment of the green light ring is a good choice. Jiang Li and Arisha had a good chat, and the latter was also full of affection for the handsome man in front of him, who spoke interestingly and gracefully. After taking a few glances at the two big guys, her eyes flashed with fighting intent, and she had a hint of thought. I want to see how strong your willpower is. Okay. As soon as Kiravog wanted to stop it, he was interrupted by Jiang Li's first promise, and he could only say helplessly, remember to start lightly. Lyra held a green spear in her hand and stared at Jiang Li with a warlike face, while the latter embodied a spear. Drink. Layla shouted a war, and Channing quickly rushed towards Jiang Li, and the two of them immediately fought together. Only Kiravog saw that the pig's face was full of black lines. Why did this guy put up the water? Didn't he beat me quite hard just now? Ha ha ha, you don't understand this. In our place, this is called gentlemanly manners, and it is a gentleman's taboo to hurt a lady. Hal couldn't help but laugh at his good friend. As Kiravog said, Jiang Li has been releasing water all the time, but Layla seems to have encountered an equal opponent, and her face is full of smiles. But once Jiang Li approached her, Layla felt a pleasant smell spread into her nose, making her face blush faintly. And Jiang Li didn't know that the super charm on his body was harvesting women again, but he could see that Layla's movements were a little sluggish and slow. Oh. Jiang Li deliberately put Layla down, and the latter felt a trace of pain before he woke up, and then quickly got up and continued to fight with Jiang Li. Aretha and Kiravog, who were watching the battle, saw Layla's strange appearance very clearly. Kiravog gave Hal an inquiring look. Read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. I don't know what's going on, I just know that the Jiang guy is very popular with girls in our place. But this is also too weird. How can the first contact make the other party blush, not to mention Layla, the iceberg beauty in Green Lantern? Aresa's eyes were a little worried. To be honest, it was the first time she had encountered a man with a high favorability, and she was a little afraid that she would be preempted by Layla before she could make a move. Hal saw Aresa's dazed expression, who had stopped waving the ball, and she couldn't help but step up to remind her teammates. Anessa? Aresa. Huh? What's wrong? In fact, Jiang Li already has a girlfriend. It's a girlfriend, not a wife, right? Hal was completely blinded. Wasn't that enough to dispel Aresa's thoughts? It seemed that he still underestimated Jiang Li's charm. Arisha saw that Hal was a little hesitant, and immediately knew that Jiang Li was not a true lord, and a smile rose at the corner of her mouth. Obviously she still had a chance. Come on. Aretha instantly regained her vitality and continued to come in front of her cheerleaders. Hal had a black face, and after being deflated, he silently returned to Kiravog's side, who laughed and patted the former's shoulder on the stomach. After Layla picked Fei Jiang away from the spear in her hand, she decisively withdrew the spear in her hand back to the Green Lantern ring, and then fought hand-to-hand with the latter. Plop! Layla seized Jiang Li's opportunity and lowered the latter to the ground, her rounded and full thighs holding his head. Jiang Li secretly raised his eyebrows, which seemed to feel good, and then he put on a painful expression and patted the ground. After receiving Jiang Li's signal to surrender, Layla smiled and let go of Jiang Li. Good job. Layla's cold face was full of smiles, and she shook hands with Jiang Li and said,